feeling when you're just sitting in the bathtub and questioning your very existence, and then you feel your hands getting tingly, and then you pull them out of the tub and you see that they're covered in wrinkles? Are you an alien? That weird species of hairless cat that looks like an alien? No, you're still a human being. Awesome. The only difference is your skin is undergoing the scientific process of osmosis, a type of diffusion. What is osmosis, you may be asking? It's kind of confusing, so let's first think of it with a real-life analogy. Imagine yourself at a birthday party with a bunch of screaming, delightful children. Look, a bouncy house. Everyone loves bouncy houses and wants to go in there, except for you, because you're an adult at a children's party for some weird reason. But anyway, the kids want to go where there's the most coolness factor, aka inside the bouncy house. The higher the coolness factor, the more kids are going to move inside of it. But there's some requirements as to who can get inside the bouncy house. Only a certain type of person can, those small enough to fit inside, like kids, not adults like you who come to birthday parties to learn about osmosis. But I digress. Now the bouncy house is starting to get kind of cramped, and Mom brings out ice cream cake. Now the higher concentration of coolness factors outside the bouncy house and where the cake is, so all the kids are running outside to try and get cake. As the afternoon goes by, the ice cream cake starts to melt though, and the bouncy house starts to look real appealing to some kids. So some kids go back inside the bouncy house and jump up and down even though they just had cake, and other kids are kind of afraid of the bouncy kids and thinking they might throw up. Plus, there's still ice cream cake left over, even if it is kind of melted. So these kids are going to stay outside the bouncy house and continue eating cake, therefore splitting the coolness factor almost equally between the bouncy house and the ice cream cake outside of it. Okay, now you're probably wondering why we talk so much about bouncy houses and ice cream cake. Well, let's switch out a few things. The screaming children are representative of water in the process of osmosis, and in osmosis, the water tries to move to areas with a much higher concentration of solute in order to reach equilibrium, because solutes suck. What is the solute in this analogy? It's the coolness factor. Osmosis can be categorized into three types: hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic. In a hypotonic solution, water moves from outside the cell to inside the cell because the concentration of solute is higher inside the cell. When the cell in our analogy, the bouncy house, has a higher coolness factor than outside the cell, the water/kids move to the inside. When we introduce ice cream cake and the coolness concentration becomes higher outside of the cell, the kids/water move outside, an example of a hypertonic solution. And finally, when the coolness factor is split evenly between the bouncy house and the ice cream cake, therefore distributing the kids 50-50 to each area of the party, we reach an isotonic solution.
Water molecules are able to pass through the membrane on their own because they are small molecules, but the process can be slow because of water's polarity. In order to quicken and regulate the movement of water in and out of the cell, integral channel proteins called aquaporins are utilized. Think of it as a parent who helps the children run through the door of the bouncy house. Or, alternatively, as an attached slide to the bounce house that allows the children to easily slip out.
So, going back to your strange alien hands, the screaming kids we've learned about has reverted to regular water inside a bathtub. A higher solute concentration can be found within the hand, so the water moves from outside the hand to inside, and then your poor hands, they're all swollen and wrinkled now, and you're still questioning your very existence without any coolness factor.